Yeah.
Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for the incredible tension. This is an audience of your fellow SAG-AFTRA actors.
Hello, everyone.
Thank
you so much for coming. Yeah, thanks so much for coming, especially on this beautiful gray cloudy Los Angeles day.
Did you bring this weather with you to us?
I would. I'd bring it more often if I had that power. I love this weather.
Bite your tongue.
Oh my God, you can touch the sky. It's so low, beautiful, grey, solemn. Shades only around the corner. A day like today.
I moved here to get away from that, so no. So I actually always love to start by talking about actors and sort of asking, was there an actor or a performance that really made you want to be an actor, or that you can remember really affecting you when you were young?
No, my sister Catherine. I have two sisters. My oldest sister Catherine went to theatre school when she was about 16 or 17, and I remember that being the first time that I was aware that, I had loved films, particularly the world of Amblin I was raised on. But it was the first time that I realised that the idea of acting was something that you could pursue, that there was a structure you could learn, it was a craft. I'm kind of Catholic with that, but performances, no. I mean, the performances I remember when I was a kid, being moved by Harry Dean Stanton in Paris, Texas was one of the greatest things I've ever seen to this day.
Someone else just mentioned that 2
really?
days ago, that's crazy.
And not just the obvious, the monologue that he delivers to Natasha Kinski's character when he's sharing the story of their life together, and he turns the chair around because he can't look at her because it's too painful. But not only that stuff, but the stuff with Hunter, the kid as well. It's just such a beautiful performance. That was kind of the first performance, I think, as a young man. I was 16 and I had a girlfriend, and she introduced me to that film, and before that was kind of a world of Back to the Future and Star Wars and shit, and that was the first time I went, oh my God, the power of it and the uncertainty of it and the kind of queasiness I felt from the depth of human observation that is everywhere in that film.
Not that there's not great performances in Back to the Future, because
it's perfect film.
And for you?
For me, as you guys were talking, I was like, oh, in my family too, I just realized my grandfather and my grandmother were opera singers, but he starred as the grave digger in the first Chinese production of Hamlet in 1940s. Yeah, the first translated from English to the Chinese modern language, yeah. And because he could sing, so he went next door to the drama division, he was a singer, and he just did this part of the grave diggers, two guys, and then we have a photo of him with mustache, and so he was acting. And I always think of them as singers, but I just realized I have some in my family too. But in terms of a film, the first film my mother took me to, I would say 9 or 10. It was The Bridges of Madison County. And I remember the first movie I saw in the movie theater. It was just so impactful. My mother was crying, and I was like, and I sat through the whole film being really moved and not really understanding why. I didn't understand the whole concept of that story at all. But
you were moved because you could feel
I was
sorrow.
moved, yeah.
You didn't know the
I could
detail
feel
of
the sorrow of my mother next to me. She was just so moved, and I was looking at
right
her.
there.
Yeah.
Proxy, yeah.
Not age appropriate, but.
And Edward, for you have such a gift with actors. They deliver some of their best performances under your direction. I'm sort of curious, did you have a background in acting? Where did you learn to speak to actors?
Don't tell us you were in Hamlet now.
Are you joking? Did I have a background in acting? I wish I did. No, I mean, I come from a place where they make cars, so I had no clue that filmmaking was even a job. But I actually thought, in the movies that I saw in the theater, I read the credits, but I didn't know what they meant. I thought the actors made the movie. I went to see it. Truth, right? But I watched the movies and oh God, how do they come up with these lines? And I had no notion for a camera or not. I just watched the movie innocently, and those are the people you see on screen, so they're making it.
Yeah.
And then only when I was 18, my dad basically said, so what are you better apply for school, for university. And I said, okay, I'll get into it. And what are you going to do? And I said, well, engineering. You're an engineer. My brothers are doing it. And he said, really? And I was almost offended because I thought like he thought it was too stupid to do engineering or something. And don't you want to become a filmmaker like that, because you don't have the guts to be. No, he basically, that's what I thought like he meant, but what he meant, and then when I asked, he said like, no, I thought, you always go to the theater, you go to the movies, you write a lot. I just thought you wouldn't be interested in it, but if you are, go for it. And that just got me thinking, like maybe, like who makes those films? And I started researching, and I realized that they are directors, and I thought I wouldn't be a good actor, so I better try directing.
The idea of like parents encouraging their kids to leave behind a stable job and go into the arts is like such a bizarro world concept.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm very, very grateful to have that.
I do actually want to start at the beginning with you because you have obviously great success with previous adaptations like All Quiet on the Western Front and Conclave. How did Lawrence Osborne's novel find its way to you, and what made you, not only drew you to the story, but made you see it as filmic? Because not all great books should be movies.
Well, my good friend and producer Mike Goodrich, I had a wonderful lunch with him about 8 years ago, and he was running the Macau Film Festival at the time, and he just was in love with the city and was looking for material to shoot there. And when he said, I want to make a movie in Macau, immediately then I thought like, oh, that could be interesting because it's, I like adventure and taking me to places that that aren't seen that often, maybe on screen. And then he gave me this book, and I read it, and I immediately thought this character, or these two characters, and their relationship, in a way, very tender, unconsumed love story, and what they can give each other, that they can give each other love. And in the end, it felt like a story where love wins over greed. And I thought that's an interesting story to tell in a world that I don't know very well, so I wanted to explore it.
And Colin, aside from the appeal of shooting in Macau, what interested you in the role of Lord? It's hard to say Lord Doyle. I gotta give props to all your cast because I've tried saying that a few times now. Lord Doyle. Yeah, say it 5 times fast.
Yeah. Candyman.
Oh no!
I'm short of three. It was like nothing I've read, which I've said before about a couple of things because it's been true before, and every time it was incredibly unique. I kind of liked the idea that there was no backstory. That when I read it, I just on the first page when he rises out of bed and he says "fuck," his heels are barely on the cliff's edge, and he's just about to fall into the chasm. And I like that. I like that it felt very immediate and it felt very present. Yeah, it was just I had a bit of a knot in my stomach reading it. I flew through it. It was a really quick read, and I had seen Patrick Melrose because we started talking about doing this film about 3 years ago. It was before All Quiet came out, but I had seen Patrick Melrose and I thought it was just such a tasty piece of storytelling, and Benedict was wonderful in it, and I thought, who's the director? And then I found out that the same director for Patrick Melrose was going to do this piece set in Macau, and yeah, read it and just loved it.
I'm sure as an actor, though, you created a backstory because you had to keep track of all of his lives, probably.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be that interesting to share with you, so I won't bother. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Origin stories are really fascinating, and people read biographies and autobiographies, and we watch documentaries about people's lives, and we listen to each other sometimes. We could listen more, of course, but we listen to each other when we ask each other's questions because we want to know, because somewhere inside there is some inherent belief, I think, that we are all more connected than we move to the world and act like we are. And so with that in mind, yeah, I did have a backstory, and I don't even know, I don't even believe that they're essential, it's just fun. It's just fun. You're asked to take something that is manufactured and is the result of Lawrence Osborne and then Rowan Joffe's imagination, skill, desire, hope, belief, concern, and you're asked to take that thing, which is artifice on the page and make it real. But it's real on the page, of course, for them. But for you, it's an objective thing. It's a script and it's a book, and it's artificial. It's just a manufacture, even of such pure things as a person's imagination. And then you're supposed to bring it to you to the point where you become a subject of it. It's not an object anymore. It's a living, breathing thing. And you look around you, and there's 250 people on any given day on the set, all willing this thing into being, moving in the same direction. It's so beautiful. But like backstories, it's all just fun. It really is fun, and it hurts sometimes.
Yeah. I was gonna. Well, okay. There's a scene where you gorge yourself, and it looks fun for maybe 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then I actually started to get concerned. Was that fun?
That was not. The first 2 takes were fun. Yeah. Yeah, the first 2 takes were fun. There was an amazing chef.
Did you have a spit bucket?
I did have a spit.
You did, okay.
Yeah, I did. I'm not sure how much I used it, but it was.
But I didn't cut until he swallowed it.
But yeah, no, it was fine. I was probably 10,000 calories in by lunch. We didn't order room service that night when we got back to our hotel room.
Yeah. How long did you shoot that scene for?
Probably, I would say 3 hours, 4 hours. Yeah.
Oh, champagne problems, too much lobster. Fala, Dao Ming is such a fascinating character because she's almost like this spirit, or literally an angel. How did you become aware of the role? And I'm really curious about how your chemistry is so vital to it. If there was a chemistry read, or how you came to get the part.
No, but there was a chemistry read with Edward. He personally flew all the way to New York just to see me after our couple Zoom meetings, and yeah, we were just in this in New York City, this office building, like a very barren room, and we just went for the scenes, and I was really hoping I would get notes or workable, can do something else that he would give me. He was just nothing. I was terrified, but I had to muster up this confidence at the same, as a character too. And I just kind of remember I just took agency and was like, I'd like to do it again. He's like, I have no notes, that was wonderful. And I was like, let me do it again. And it probably ended up being exactly the same. But I felt that was very different. It came from a different point. But it was a wonderful actor, Robert, and he was such a good reader. He memorized all his lines with me. And we really got we did the opium scene.
Nice.
And I was like, can I smoke weed? Imaginary.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I just asked him. He's like, yeah, of course.
Wait, you got stoned during the thing?
No, mine. And then I was like, because I don't even know how an opium pipe would work, and so I was just doing this with Rob, and he was just taking it in, and we started crying and all kinds of different. I was like, okay, too much crying, maybe I'll try something else. And so that was a wonderful chemistry read with Edward that I feel like it still stayed with me as I was playing Dao Ming.
So then how did Colin match up after you had this great scene?
Robert is much better.
He was crying in the opium scene. Opportunity missed. There's not enough sobbing throughout the whole film. That was my favorite scene.
Yeah, it was mine too.
To do, I
Mine
think.
too.
Yeah.
It's such a simple scene,
Yeah,
in
exactly.
a way, or it's not a simple scene, but it's suddenly after all this mania, it's just two people connecting and sharing their backstory.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
I was very nervous about shooting that scene, and then it was just so beautiful.
And the burden of the facade that they both are living beneath the boon of.
Yeah.
She's also presenting a version of herself to the world so she can provide for her own life and her family, and that she believes the world expects. And Riley is obviously presenting Doyle as well, and it's the one time in the whole, because even with Magic Tilda's character, when there's moments of honesty between us, it's still angst-ridden, it's before the last game, it's whatever it may be, or even at the end, he gives her the money, he's still a little bit caught. But the scene we had on the houseboat, and where it came in the shoot as well, because
Towards the end,
we were
we need to
8 weeks in.
decompress.
We were 5 days left of the whole shoot, and everyone, including the crew,
Yeah.
Ed, everyone, I was going to call you Demi, it's dressed,
Yeah,
everyone was
Demi.
wrecked.
Yeah.
Everyone really was. Everyone was super, because there were long days and it was a chaotic shoot in a really good constructive way, I feel. But that scene was the only kind of tenderly truthful
Yeah.
moment in the whole film, and it was just lovely to be doing with you.
Yeah, same here. And I feel like we were all kind of different, like we became different beings without the facade, without the makeup. Like, you know, we're very like barefaced and simple clothes and humble hut and all of it. But yeah, it felt like very innocent and vulnerable. I remember I gave Colin his first Alexander lesson on the dock. I was just like, lie down, Colin. I did. Just like we just needed to like let go of any tension and any kind of tense energy and just relax and get into that scene. It was really beautiful.
May I ask, because I might be mistaken, and I'd be really embarrassing if I was, but you have such an interesting history because you were already a movie star in your country, and I believe you left to attend Juilliard.
I did. I think I have 2 Juilliard classmates here tonight. Are you alone? Scout. Oh, they didn't come? No. Oh, there they are, my classmates. We've gone through 4 years together.
Wow.
At Juilliard.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was life-changing for me.
Did you have training before that? Just a different...
Nothing.
Really?
I got really lucky. She's kind of like you. We share kind of similar experience. It's just like skyrocketed, and I was like, whoa, what is this? And doing leading roles, like, you know, in my second year, and I had no idea how to handle that. And as I was getting to like 8th and 9th year of acting, and I was just like, I kind of need a break from this, from everything. So I just like auditioned for drama school and then went back to school.
Wow, and then did 4 years at Juilliard.
And then stayed in New York.
That's incredible. That's amazing. You were talking about, you know, kind of being exhausted near the end of the shoot, and I know you're shooting on location in Macau. It is an overwhelming city. I know that, and it's, you know, it's cliche to say that this city becomes a character, but it's absolutely true in this case. And I'm curious, you know, if you were always determined to shoot there, and how that helps you as actors, you know, to actually be on those locations and to be in that atmosphere.
Yeah, we always intended to shoot there because there's no other way to make this film. You know, it's such a mirror of these characters' inner life, either a contrast or they're to support it because they all have their turmoils inside. And I think all those lights, all that music, all those colors mirror that beautifully. So we needed to shoot there. It's a very singular place in the world. And I haven't made these type of films for a very long time. I'm used to very low budget films. And I don't, you know, in my head it hasn't arrived that you can build things in a studio. So, but also, I mean, just the fact of shooting on that houseboat, for example, or shooting in your apartment, shooting in those locations. I mean, the atmosphere I feel you can't really replicate.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a soundstage.
I feel soundstage when I see it in movies. I usually feel it.
I think I do too. Does it help you as actors though to actually be there? It's just as much as like a costume helps, or you know how you do your hair. I mean, I even think his facial hair says so much about him. And those suits, I thought this was a Wes Anderson movie at first when I saw it. I was like, you have to put those on and walk a certain way or carry yourself a certain way.
That's just an example of Lissy Crystal, who designed all the costumes. Just an example of the information that you get from an artist like her, and how that is part of the gumbo that everyone is creating together. You know, she came over to my house in Los Angeles once, and she had this rack of fucking green velvet and red satin, and I was like, holy shit, and yellow gloves, what the fuck am I paying? Is he a clown? I was like, balloon animals.
I wouldn't imagine it from the script. It's
I
like
thought it was kind of this type of thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Boring.
And then you go, exactly, take any trick at hand. And then you look at that and you go, God, the man who can wear a suit like that and walk across a casino floor has to carry himself a certain way. And so, you know, Lissy kind of writes the part for you and with you. Being in the environment, I thought was magic. Because you never fully get to leave the beautiful, exotic confines of the location that, you know, even if you go to the small fishing town, Colin at the weekends, which is really quiet and windy streets, and you sit down and you have a cup of coffee, you just end up your mind on a Sunday afternoon, you're thinking, wow, I'm feeling a lovely moment's peace here, a bowl of noodles and sardine are incoming, I have a coffee, and this is the kind of peace that Doyle can't access. And it's in the script, it's half a mile away from Doyle's suite, and he does not know that this world exists. So even then, you're just looking around, and on a day off, you're not going, I'm going to have a coffee and look at things and see what it tells me about but it's always there. You're actually living in the story, and it becomes, for a very short period of time, a greater reality than, your family and your friends who are at home waiting for you, and who you miss terribly. It becomes your reality, and so suspension of disbelief is easier, essentially, I suppose.
Earlier you thought she went method and did opium for her audition.
No, not opium. Opium's hard to get.
You know where
If I remember correctly. I thought she was smoking split.
Did the two of you spend any time gambling or learning at the game?
We learned opium smoking too.
We did
They
learn
brought an
opium
expert.
smoking, yeah.
And the guy really, back in the day, he did. And we also had experts teaching us about gambling and you played.
Yeah, it was on the
games.
timetable. Opium lesson.
We had those. So thanks for, really in detail. Edward really goes really as far as he can to give us as much detail, and he said his meticulous everything, costume, his team, his long-term collaborators, they're just so perfect, like they're all perfectionists. So we had a lot of support, but I also want to say, like, before I departed for Macau, of course I was nervous, it was still like a huge burden on me, and I had the whole community of my actor friends in New York. That was like my biggest support. I had Maria Dizia, who's my friend, but also my coach. She went through numerous times with the scenes, share with me the way that she does her backstories. It's a very physical way, imagining different ages, different rooms, different moments, and just living through them. So thanks to Maria, and I had many classmates running the scenes and helping me preparing our reading and all of it. My teachers, and I had several actor friends who recorded, people from Beijing who recorded my lines in Chinese accent, various versions. And I sent to Edward. So just all these preparation process, I would have not done it alone at all. I wouldn't even know where to go. Yeah, but I had my community of artists supporting me.
And also, was it Robert you did the audition with?
Yes.
You like Robert, okay.
Yeah.
Good readers.
Excellent actor. Yeah.
Well, again, I want to remind everyone, this movie is actually going to be playing in theaters this weekend. If you want to give your friends a heart attack. And then it will be on Netflix, but please spread the word. It's such a great film. Thank you so much for being a great